Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Real Estate Recess. I'm your hostess, Jennifer Schurter, and today I'm not coming to you from my typical location. You'll see it's actually quite different. I am actually here on location in San Antonio, Texas, for a really awesome event called Real Estate Video Blueprint. And today I have a special guest with me, and we're going to talk about some interesting topics with you today, including some data that was released by the National Association of Realtors, talking about how much money a family needs to make in the United States, in each state, to afford a home in today's world. So we're going to talk about that and some other stuff, but I'd love my guest to introduce herself to all of you. So yeah, go ahead and tell the people all about you and where you're from.
I will tell the people. I am Tara Crossley. You can follow me at Tara Crossley Realtor on pretty much any platform, but I am from Connecticut and I serve Connecticut and Rhode Island. And I'm here at Real Estate Video Blueprint as well, and Jen and I just met.
Yeah, so I thought it would be fun to it's just fun. Like, we make friends. You come to these events, you make friends, you connect with realtors from other parts of the country, which is awesome because I think you'd agree that you have clients that move all over the country all the time.
Yep.
And so you have the ability to help your clients connect with a great agent no matter where they're looking to go. So
Absolutely. I live in a military community. I'm actually living in the sub-base capital of the world. So we move people back and forth all the time.
that's awesome. That is very cool. Well, thanks for jumping in, a new friend, joining a podcast live stream out of the blue. So that's really, really fun. So we're glad you're here. So we'll jump right into it because I think this data is interesting. And we were kind of talking a little bit about it before we were getting this all put together. But I would love to talk about this National Association of Realtors information that we're seeing here. This is a post on Instagram that I came across, but this is saying, how much a family of four needs in every state to afford a home in 2025. I don't have to tell you this, and you don't probably have to tell people this also, but stuff's expensive.
Very expensive.
It's expensive to live. So
Yeah.
what's in Connecticut where you're from, or even just that general region, how would you say the cost of living has increased, or what's that been like where you're at over the last couple of years?
The cost of living is continuing to increase. Rents have increased about 13% year over year since 2019. Home prices are about 11.5% year over year since 2019. And that has continued in my market personally because we're still in a housing crisis. And income is not keeping up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I would agree in Oregon. I think we're seeing the same types of things. You're on it. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I will say rents they've increased. But I think in Oregon, to the best of my knowledge, they feel like they've kind of stabilized a little bit.
Yeah.
There's maybe a little bit better shot at renters getting a shot at having something that isn't completely just outlandishly expensive for rent. It's still expensive. I think most people would say, well, gee, that's still really expensive.
Yeah, because the standard's been set.
Exactly. But it's like gas prices. We have gas taxes. And in Oregon, we have federal income tax and state income tax. And then the cost of everything that hits somebody's wallet before we even talk about housing. Obviously, we're all feeling a pinch.
Yeah.
So according to this data, it says in Oregon, a family of four needs about $158,000 to afford a home. And Connecticut, it says, let me squint. It's 144,000. And since you said Rhode Island, it says $151,000 for Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So what does the average basic entry level house for a family of four, what does that look like in your market?
Probably about 1,000 square feet, and right now those are going for around $350,000.
Wow.
So you're talking about 3 beds, 1 bathroom on a small lot, so a half acre or less. And in the area that I live, you're going to be paying around $350,000 for that. And depending on which county you live in, it could be even more. There's counties like Hartford, New Haven County, you would probably pay $500,000 for that.
Sure. Yeah.
So I I could see that. That could be dual income. But I also know people doing it on a lot less. I've seen people kind of make miracles and squeeze water out of a rock and do things creatively with their financing in order to get into a.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And it's interesting because I would say in some aspects our market is similar in price. I would say I'll speak for my hometown, which is Canby, Oregon. So, we're a town of about 18 or so thousand people. We're not technically part of the Portland Metro. We're outside that boundary, but we're still, I would call a rural suburban town. But so in my town right now, it's hard to find something under $500,000. They do happen, but it's like you say, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath or 1-bath. 12 to 1,300 square foot ranch home, and it's if it doesn't need work, it's definitely cosmetically dated.
Yeah,
and
for us, anything under the 300 mark is going to have probably a dozen offers on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And for 300-ish in our market, it would be a townhome or a condo.
Yep.
Something like that, or a manufactured home, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's just our median price point in my town is around $650,000.
Yep.
So it's pretty high.
In my direct town where I live, it's close to the fives. It's like the 495 is the median price range. But I work in a wide area because Connecticut's a much smaller state than most other places. And in the spendier counties, that just goes up and up. Like Hartford County, the median house price is probably $700,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course you go north from where I'm at and you get into the metro and we start looking at cities like Lake Oswego, which is a very affluent town.
Yeah.
And I mean, $1 million median price points pretty easily.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still where we're at, still very much that West Coast.
Yeah. And that's
expensive.
what you find at the Rhode Island coast too. The closer you are to the water, the more expensive the homes are going to get. And Rhode Island particularly is a very tight market because, it's tiny. You can barely even see it on the map. So if you have to live there, if you want to live there, you're definitely going to pay for it.
Right. So, and that's interesting. Sorry, I shouldn't have taken this down.
No, that's okay.
But let's look at the next page. So we know this is what a family of 4 needs in every state. And so leave me a comment. I'm genuinely curious, those of you out there watching, if you think in Oregon, $158,000, if that is you, if that income feels like you could afford a home with that income. And also Oregon's a pretty big state. And so is this true for the entire state? Is it an average? There's some pieces of this data in this graphic that we just, we don't really have. If it's Portland Metro or if they've averaged the whole state, because different parts of the state obviously have different property values.
Yep.
You go to northeastern Oregon or southeastern Oregon, it's going to look a lot different. Income levels are going to vary dramatically across the board.
I find the more rural it is, typically the more affordable it is.
100%. The further you are away from a city, you tend to deduct price as you go in miles away.
And the further away from the water.
Exactly. So let's look at the next slide on here where it's going to mention this 10 states where families need the lowest incomes to buy a home. And notice Oregon's not anywhere on this list. I don't see Connecticut either.
No.
I have friends in Ohio, my friend Laura Petek and Kate Ryan.
I'm not surprised to see Pennsylvania.
Oh, right. So 2 agents at Canton and Cleveland area. They live in Ohio, and I can believe that for sure because they're selling houses that are $200,000 and it's a really nice single family home.
Yeah, and I grew up in rural Pennsylvania, and I still am very familiar with that market. You can buy a 3 to 4 bedroom home for pretty well under 200, actually.
Yeah,
for like
amazing.
$140,000.
Yeah, right. So that's the household income need is dramatically different for a family of 4 to be under $75,000 and still be able to afford a home is pretty incredible. And I think it wasn't all that long ago where that was the reality.
Yeah.
Even in Oregon where that was something people enjoyed.
It's all pretty relative though, because in these places, people are raising entire families on minimum wage.
Yeah.
So the income is a lot different too.
Sure.
To make $80,000 a year is pretty big money. Where I'm from in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good salary. And its location is so relative. Like you said, it's just like, so it's very interesting. So the 10 states, Ohio, in order from top to bottom: Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, Pennsylvania, Kansas, Indiana, Minnesota, Maryland, and Missouri. Something quirky about this graph that I'm not quite sure why, but it looks like Missouri at the bottom. I don't know if this was just an error or if there's some method to this, but it doesn't really say. But we'll see if we can deduce why it is that that's the case. The next piece is interesting, is these are the 10 states where families need the highest incomes to buy a home. And you'll notice, for those who are curious, Oregon is coming in at number 10 on this list. But Connecticut's not. So it's and there's a couple on here that are less than that. So I wonder, like New Mexico is 112,000, Nevada's 139.
Well, and I'm pretty familiar with the Massachusetts market. I think unless you're very close to Boston, 215 is pretty wild. You can live in Massachusetts just as affordably as you can in Rhode Island or Connecticut, I would think. Because it's not like it's Connecticut to Mars. It's just Connecticut to Massachusetts. And I would think, you'd be good at six figures even if there's a 1 in front of that number.
Very interesting. And so I know some folks who sell in the Boston, I guess it's Newburyport.
Okay.
So, and she sells in Boston also, and she's talking about how multiple offers going just ridiculous amounts over ask, even today, which is, it blows my mind. I thought we left that behind.
No, so that never ended in New England.
Oh my gosh.
It never ended in my market. We maybe got a brief pause. I can't even remember when that was, but the Connecticut coastal market and Rhode Island for sure, and I would say probably all the New England states, are really tough. We're in a housing crisis. We cannot build houses or apartments fast enough for the level of people who have come to us, and we have a lot going on as far as industry and infrastructure goes, because we have submarine bases, we have General Dynamics, EB. For those who don't know what EB is, it's electric boat. We build submarines, and Pfizer. So we have all those, and people are coming and going all the time. Plus, we're putting in windmills in our waters. So we have a lot of people coming from Europe to do that.
I see. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's similar to out where I am, the Beaverton, Hillsborough market, which is, if you think of Portland, it's like the west side of the metro area. And that's the home of Intel and Nike. And there's a lot of, it's a tech hub over there.
Yeah.
And I feel that way a lot of the time about it. I shouldn't say we left it that bidding war type mentality in COVID, but it is present, maybe just not to the degree that it once was, but especially is the case with those price points that would be good for people with that average family income. The $500,000 house, it seems like those go quick, especially if they're in good condition. So
yeah, I think the other thing that happened too is that people, they got off the bad taste in their mouth over interest rates, and they realized they're here to stay, so they're not going to wait anymore, because they realize the longer they wait, the more expensive homes are getting.
Exactly. So very interesting point. So if you can find this post on Instagram. So if you're curious about it and you want to know more, and you want to dig into it a little bit more, this information is there. It was a NAR, so you could just look up NAR on Instagram. That post is there. But if you read through the comments, a lot of the comments are saying that this information is extremely inaccurate, and it could be. I mean,
they used AI.
They probably right. So let me add something else here. There's an actual article that was part of this. So let's see. This was the link that was tied to that post on Instagram. So we can take a look at that. This is on realtor.com. How much a family in every state needs to afford a home. So what we see here is it saying this is an analysis that realtor.com did. And it says that, let's see, I'm wondering where the data is, their analysis, how they came to this conclusion. What was the the method that they used to get this information. So it's showing everything we just saw in the post. But yeah, you could go online and Google this article and find it yourself, and make your own, come to your own conclusions. And but again, let us know what you think. Drop a comment. Tell us if you think this information's accurate, or if you think it's completely flawed, or if you think it feels about right. Maybe tell us where you're from in the state of Oregon. Maybe you're in Connecticut or back east watching this. Definitely leave us a comment. It's always fun to share insights and know what's going on in other parts of the country. So anyway, that was the big data that I wanted to share with everybody today. But since we're here at Real Estate Video Blueprint, what this event is all about is basically maximizing opportunity with video, because obviously it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Social media is not going anywhere. We're all here to learn to be the best at this part of our trade. And so it just made me think of, as a consumer, which this is a consumer facing podcast, is why is it important? And Tara, why do you think it's important that people who are out there looking to hire an agent, why is this type of stuff important, and why should they care if their agent is invested in growth with these types, with events like this, or knowing the latest tactics?
Yes, exposure matters. So, the MLS is obviously one of your biggest tools in your toolbox as far as exposing your listings go, but how incredible if the professional that you hired to list your home had a reach of 250,000 people in addition to who's searching on the MLS. MLS, obviously, once a home hits MLS, it's picked up by Google or third-party sites. Mm-hmm. But we, as individuals, have specific reach with our followership. And I have people purchase homes right off my YouTube, right off my Instagram all the time, or they'll see a video and they'll say to me, where is that house? Mm-hmm. I just love it. I have a house on my Instagram right now. You can check it out. It's an English cottage. And the video on it was so good. Not only did the video go viral, but so that's in Connecticut, and I have leads from all over, buyers from all over California, Texas, you name it, ask me about this house.
Wow.
Telling me in my Instagram DMs, I'll wire you $10,000 for a deposit today.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's awesome.
Marketing absolutely matters. And realistically, they haven't even been to the property. They don't know that they really want to buy this. They might get there and not love the location, but they have fallen in love with the story, the marketing.
Yes.
So it is, that's one of probably a million reasons it's so important.
Correct. And I would agree with everything that you said. And they brought up a really good point today is your agent actively using these various tools and tactics to promote your listing? And I think it's especially true with listings. But as a buyer, if you're looking for agents, what is their social presence? Because I think it shows a connectedness to the communities that you might be interested in buying in.
Yes, it does.
And what's their knowledge? Because especially if you're relocating from another state and you want to know what it's like to live somewhere, and you want to trust somebody that's actually familiar with the area that you're intending to move to. So I think that it's so important to have those pieces in place, and to be active in social media and to do it well and tell the stories, because it's not just the story of the area, but it's the story of the houses too.
And it's the story of the professional that you're hiring. So right from my social platforms, you can see that I'm a community activist, that I'm invested where I sell, that I'm a full-time realtor. Those things, you can learn about me without having to have a cringe conversation with me or even a consultation if you don't want to. You're kind of going to be able to see from my social platforms if I'm a good personality match for you.
Oh, absolutely. And then they'll know all of that before they even email you, send you a direct message, call you. They've already got a feel.
Yeah.
So it's a great resume.
Yeah.
It's a great asset to have in your resume. But one point they made today, which I thought was really good, was they talked about, if you're listing your property, if an agent is super active on social media and really leveraging video to as much as they can, how many more eyes that puts on your listing? Because Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com and the big Homes.com, the big ones that we can all think of, they have a lot of built-in traffic, and that is absolutely one way that you're going to capture people, but how many other stones out there do we need to turn over to find the buyer for the property you're selling? It's more than just, well, we're gonna, I call it the list it and leave it.
Yeah. And we're not held to any standards when we post listing videos on social platforms like we are on the MLS.
Right.
There's no rules about branding, or, you know, whether it's vertical or landscape or any of that. So you can potentially see more of a house, or you can see the story of the house versus just kind of like a boring virtual tour.
100%. And even though you do have a lot of information that you can glean from these sites, the photos, hopefully it's professional photos. Hopefully it's floor plans and Matterports and things that really allow buyers to get a sense of the house. But you know what? It's not always. And but you're right. I have a listing right now in Hubbard. It's my listing at Meniere Road. It's listed right now for $1.8 million, but it's a very special house. The photos, the remarks I can put in the MLS, I'm limited.
Right.
It is a custom home that was built and framed with old growth timber. So it's like the quality of this house you will never find in a lot of homes that were built in 2006, because
it's very difficult to convey that on the MLS.
Exactly. It's so hard to convey that. And so it's like, we have to tell the story of the house. And so I think it's so important. So so take this as us, Tara and I, encouraging you, people out there watching, that ask those questions. If it's important to you and your house is more than just a sale, it's your single largest asset for a lot of people.
Yes.
Checking into those things, and social media is not going anywhere.
And professional photography.
Every time.
Pros use pros.
Yes. And the theme often of this podcast, I tell people a lot, is it matters who you work with.
Matters who you work with, and it matters that they have the capital to hire a pro to market your listing property.
Completely. Well, I think that about covers it today. Do you have anything? Why don't you tell them again how they could reach you?
Oh, you can, of course, reach me on Instagram at Tara Crossley Realtor. You can reach me at taracrossleyrealtor.com. You can reach me on Facebook at Tara Crossley Realtor. I think we understand that I'm Tara Crossley Realtor.
She's in Connecticut and Rhode Island.
Yep.
Awesome. So thanks for tuning in today, and leave us a comment. Would love to hear your thoughts about any of this. Obviously, we'd love for you to do a couple things. If you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, Living in Portland Suburbs, so you can catch all my content as it comes out. I'm releasing stuff every single week, and you hit the bell so that you're notified and you don't miss it. And again, I'm Jennifer Scherter, and I'm your local real estate expert in South Clackamas County, the North Willamette Valley, and especially my hometown of Canby, Oregon. It is my heart, and I love it. And if you're looking to make a move, I'd love to show you why it's so wonderful. You can connect with me down below, and until next week, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Hire
her. Okay, I'd hire Tara. Yes, if I were buying out in Connecticut, I would.
Hands down.
All right, everybody, take it easy, and we'll see you soon.